Hi everybody, Cheaply Chic, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm jumping in and I'm playing with some beeswax. Now this is nothing new to the journaling community. I'm sure many of you watching this video have played with beeswax before or many times. But believe it or not, this is something new to me. I've had my reservations about it. I've had questions about it, and for some reason those questions have just kept me from experimenting. So I decided today that I really wanted to experiment and I would bring you along with me because of these questions that I've had before. So there's probably somebody watching this video who hasn't played with beeswax, and maybe you have some of the same questions that I did and I never found the answer. I never found the answer to those questions. So I decided to share those with you today. So I decided that I wanted to play with some stamps. These are a set of stamps that I picked up at the Dollar Tree. Believe it or not, you guys, I can't believe how awesome the Dollar Tree stamps really are. The quality of them, the rubber or the silicone, I'm sorry, is really thick, and the cut lines are just great. They show up fantastic on paper, so don't hesitate to buy those at the Dollar Tree. And then this other set that I'm playing with is from Bo Bunny, and it's just a set of stamps that I picked up at Tuesday morning, and these, I'm telling you, those Dollar Tree stamps are better quality than these are. So anyway, I actually cut out some of the video where I had tried to stamp them all at once and it wasn't working, and I finally had to just put a mat under my piece of paper there and got it to work. So because I am going to be melting wax over them, I'm using a waterproof ink. I thought, I don't want it to bleed, and just in case that liquid of the beeswax were to ruin the ink, I just wanted to make sure to use a waterproof ink. The beeswax I'm using, I had picked up on Amazon years ago for soap making. It is a natural yellow color. I have since making this video, I have ordered some white beeswax pellets. I would say if this is new to you, I'm going to link them both down below, but if this is your first time, I would recommend starting out with the white, just because the yellow does tend to leave a color on your paper. It gives it more of a vintage look, kind of like if you were using a Tim Holtz collage medium and he has that vintage color. It really reminds me of that. So it is great for that purpose, but since using the white, I decided that probably that would be my first choice. So just something to note, these are little pellets. You just want to spread them over your paper. I'm going to show you a couple different ways of melting it. I did buy this little iron, and this is something that other people have used in their beeswax melting videos, and I do love it. It's super cute. It's super tiny. You'll see some of the reviews on Amazon complain about it not getting hot enough, but quite honestly, for this project, it gets hot enough. And I liked having a designated heat source and not using my regular craft iron that I use for a lot of fabric projects here in my craft room. So this little guy was perfect. So here you'll see I'm doing the typical thing that I've seen a lot of beeswax videos, using some printables. This is Cara Brandon's printables from one of the kits that she has in her shop. I love all the little just the little ephemera pieces, the little pieces that you can cut out for your journaling. She has so many in this kit. So I'm going to link that in the description box down below as well. This makes really pretty pieces. So I'm trying to fit a lot of information into this video. So I'm just going to keep chatting, you guys, and hopefully it can flow okay. So one of the things to note about my digital print here is I have a laser printer. I don't have an inkjet at all. So I can't try the difference, like what's the difference between using inkjet and using laser. I'm not exactly sure, but I have watched a video where the lady said that inkjet was preferred, and that laser didn't really work that well. So I am thinking, I had great success with my laser. Maybe if you use an inkjet, you're going to get a better result, or just a better piece of ephemera altogether, but laser works fine. So that's just something I wanted to mention. Something that I'm doing here that I want to mention, and it was my number one question, is if I am going to melt beeswax on a piece of paper, is it going to be coated in beeswax? right? Am I going to be able to add it to my journal and not have beeswax get warm? You know, I live in South Florida, but even when I lived in Indiana, it would be humid up in my craft room, and I don't want that beeswax to transfer into my journal. It's something I was always worried about. I don't know how that got into my head, but I can tell you that you are putting the beeswax into the paper fibers itself, but you do need to really make sure that you wipe off the excess wax. Otherwise, it will stay coated on your paper. But if you don't get it all before it dries, which I did a couple times there, it was still, there were little chunks of it melted onto my paper. I just reheated it and continued to wipe it off. I also made sure to use a paper towel on my iron and to get that excess wax off of it. That was something else I found that was important. So here I'm playing around with the paper doily. I really wanted to see what that looked like. You guys know how these paper doilies can be pretty fragile. And I enjoy how the beeswax actually makes it a little tougher. It's not like it really thickens the paper that much, but it does make it a little more pliable, and I enjoy that about it. My favorite thing about the beeswax is obviously the transparency. I love the fact that you're kind of making it look like vellum, and that's fun. It's just another texture to add to our journals. So I'm trying to spit out a lot of information here, but I think that is pretty much it. What my biggest concern always has been, was would this get into my journal? And really, if you take the time to rub and get all of that excess wax, you can see there I'm scraping off some of the wax with my fingernail because I didn't get it all off. So I think I'm taking my iron again, my little tiny iron, and I'm going to, well, I didn't show it in the video, but I make sure to get that wax off. The other thing that I did was I used my little Tim Holtz heat gun just to show you there are ways. You don't need to go out and buy this iron. You can use your heat gun. Now, the heat gun that Tim Holtz has is a little different than an embossing gun. An embossing gun has that direct, it's going to shoot out the heat straight forward. And that might, it has a tendency to burn your paper if you leave it in one spot too long. And the Tim Holtz craft gun disperses the heat, like it pushes it out to the sides. So that's helpful for not making burn spots in your paper. So I'm not sure about an embossing gun, but give it a try. Just be careful. Or just use your designated craft iron. Here, I was very pleased to see that I could use the beeswax over the ink. I wasn't, exactly sure how that would work out. I hadn't watched any videos on it necessarily, but it was a lot of fun. And I think in the end, that's one of my favorites because I do love stamping. So there's the pretty blue one, the only colored ink that I used. The pieces are completely wax-free. They very much remind me of a piece of vellum. And here I'm just showing how you can see the image, the papers, through these waxed pieces. And I do just absolutely love them. So that is pretty much it for this video. I think I mentioned everything that I wanted to mention. The doily is super fun. This is something that would be very fun to just sit and do in an afternoon. And yeah, I loved it. I loved it. I wish I would have done it sooner. I shouldn't have let the questions keep me from doing this. So thank you guys so much. For those of you who are already beeswax experts, thanks for spending the time listening to me ramble. For those of you who haven't tried this yet, I do encourage it. It is super fun. The links to my supplies will be in the description box down below. Otherwise, you guys just use what you have on hand. If you have beeswax, find something to warm it up with, and it's going to be great. Just make sure you vigorously clean off that extra wax, and then it won't be a problem. So thanks again. Thanks for taking the time to watch. All my links are down below, as well as the design team, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.